I was out back one Saturday morning, just trimming some hedges and letting my kids play in the yard, when I noticed her again. Karen asterisk. That neighbor. The one who watches everything through her window like it's her full-time job. This time, though, she didn't just stare. She marched up to the fence, phone in hand, and told me flat out, "I'm calling CPS. This is not a safe environment for children." I thought she was bluffing, until the next day, when I actually got a visit from Child Protective Services. Now, here's a twist. What Karen didn't know, and really should have before making that call, is that I am a federal child welfare investigator. I don't just know the system. I am the system. I spend my days protecting kids and making sure families are safe and supported. And now suddenly, I was on the other side of it. Why did she do it? Was it really about my backyard? Or was there something more going on behind that smile she fakes every time we cross paths? I've seen people misuse the system before, but never like this. What she didn't expect was that I'd know exactly how to handle it, and that her little stunt might just backfire in a way she never saw coming. Let me tell you what happened next. A few days before all this happened, Karen had already been giving me weird looks. Ever since I put up the new playset for the kids, she started acting like my backyard was some kind of public safety threat. She complained about the noise, even though it was just laughter and kids being kids. She even told another neighbor that I ran some kind of daycare, which isn't even close to true. I work from home a couple days a week, and yeah, my kids play outside a lot, but that's called parenting, not negligence. I knew she didn't like me. Maybe it's because I don't fall to her passive-aggressive comments. Maybe it's because I'm younger and not part of her little neighborhood circle. But I never expected she'd actually call Child Protective Services on me, especially without any real reason. That's what made it personal. The CPS worker who showed up was just doing her job, of course. She had no idea I worked in the same field. I played it cool. I answered her questions, gave her the tour, even showed her my credentials at the end. But something didn't sit right. Karen didn't just call CPS because she was concerned. She wanted to cause trouble. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't her first time doing something like this. After the CPS visit, I tried to shake it off. I mean, everything checked out. My house was clean, the kids were safe, and there was no actual concern. But it kept gnawing at me. Why would Karen go that far? Was it really just about the backyard? Or was she using the child welfare system to get back at me for something petty? I started paying closer attention, and that's when more strange things started happening. One morning, I found a note taped to my mailbox. No name, just a typed message saying, "some people shouldn't be raising children." Then a week later, a city inspector randomly showed up, saying someone had reported an unsafe structure in my backyard. Again, everything passed inspection, but it was obvious this wasn't random. I talked to a couple other neighbors, just casually bringing up Karen's name, and what they said didn't surprise me. Turns out she's filed complaints before. Noise violations, dog barking, parking issues, you name it. One neighbor even told me Karen once tried to report their teen son for suspicious behavior just because he wore all black. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about me personally. This was her pattern, weaponizing systems to feel in control. But this time, she picked the wrong target. And even though I knew how to handle it professionally, this was starting to cross into something deeper. Something I couldn't ignore anymore. By this point, it wasn't just about protecting my family anymore. It was about setting things right. I'd worked on hundreds of child welfare cases in my career, and I've seen what real neglect and abuse looks like. Karen's false report wasn't just a nuisance, it was dangerous. People like her tie up resources that could be going to families who truly need help. But instead of reacting emotionally, I stayed focused. I knew how to move within the system, and I had a plan. I started documenting everything, every interaction, every strange visit. I installed a camera facing the front of my property, nothing invasive, just enough to track who was coming and going. Sure enough, I caught Karen walking by slowly at odd hours, sometimes stopping to write something down. One night, she even took photos of my yard from the sidewalk, thinking no one noticed. Then came the breaking point. I got a letter from the HOA saying they'd received multiple anonymous complaints, again, this time claiming my kids were unsupervised and that my backyard was a hazard. The timing lined up exactly with the day Karen had her landscaper over. Coincidence? Not likely. It was all building to something. The complaints, the CPS visit, the city inspector, it was coordinated. Or at least obsessive. And I had enough now to do more than just guess. But before I took my next step, something happened that shifted everything. And it happened right in front of my kids. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, and I was setting up the sprinkler for the kids when I heard shouting from the front yard. At first, I thought it was just another neighbor walking their dog, until I heard my oldest son yell, "Dad." I ran out and saw Karen standing at the edge of my driveway, pointing at my kids, screaming something about reckless parenting and exposing minors to danger. The kids had chalk in their hands. They were drawing on the sidewalk. That's when she pulled out her phone, again. "I'm recording this," she shouted. "This is going to the HOA, the city, and CPS." But this time she wasn't alone. Another neighbor had walked over, drawn by the noise. And instead of backing her up, he stepped in. "Karen, that's enough," he said. "You're crossing a line." That's when it all started to unravel. The neighbor, Tom, pulled me aside and told me something I didn't expect. Karen had filed a similar complaint against him years ago, trying to get his daughter investigated because she had a developmental delay and needed therapy visits at home. Karen thought it was suspicious. Suddenly, this wasn't just about me. She had a pattern of targeting families she didn't understand or agree with. The way she used systems like child welfare and code enforcement wasn't just obsessive, it was harmful. And now she was doubling down. Because I was getting close to the truth, and she knew it. The next morning, I filed an official report, not with CPS, but with the city and the HOA, including every bit of evidence I'd gathered. The footage of Karen taking pictures of my kids, the inspector visits, the timeline that matched up with each anonymous complaint. I even included witness statements from neighbors, including Tom, who was more than willing to back me up. I stayed professional, but firm. I knew how these systems worked, and I knew how to work within them. Within days, I got a response. The city closed the complaint against my property, stating there was no violation and that repeated false reports could result in action against the complainant. The HOA board called a special meeting, and for the first time, neighbors started speaking out. Turns out, Karen's complaints over the years had affected more people than I realized. Parents, elderly neighbors, even a single mom 2 streets over who'd nearly lost custody during a CPS scare Karen triggered. Then came the final twist. I received a letter, not from CPS or the city, but from Karen's former employer. She used to work part-time with a local neighborhood safety group. Turns out she had been let go quietly last year. After they received complaints about her harassing families and misusing authority she no longer even had. She wasn't just a nosy neighbor. She was someone who craved control, and when she lost it, she tried to regain it by using fear. But this time she'd picked the wrong house. After that letter surfaced, everything shifted. Karen suddenly went quiet. No more complaints. No more angry outbursts. She stopped making eye contact when we passed each other. And while she still peered through her blinds, now and then, the neighborhood no longer played along. People were done letting her stir up fear under the cover of concern. The HOA issued a formal notice warning her about harassment and misuse of the complaint process. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about a pattern that had gone unchecked for too long. For the first time, I saw real community forming. Neighbors talked more. Kids played freely again. Even Tom said he felt like he could finally breathe. As for me, I kept doing what I always do, raising my kids, keeping my home safe, and working to protect families who actually need help. Karen's false CPS report could have caused serious harm, but thankfully I knew how to navigate it. Not every parent would be so lucky. If there's one thing I want people to take from this, it's this. Systems meant to protect children should never be used as weapons. And sometimes, the best way to stand up to that kind of behavior is to shine a light on it.